All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to Rolling Out. We're here at the headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia, and today we are joined by a very, very special guest. This is someone we go way 2017, man. Way back in the y'all weren't even outside. Stop acting like it. We got one of the internet's biggest staples, one of the biggest culture figures in meme culture
Oh, wow.
and content culture. Black creators, black students, black mothers. We got Jamila Bell in the building. Hey, Jamila! Hey! How you doing today? How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I can't call it. I can't call it. And I was at you went viral, I think, like last week, and I thought about it. I was like, I don't think I've ever interviewed her, and I was like, we have to get this done, and I thought it was perfect. Now, with it being Women's History Month, it's just kind of like the perfect storm of everything. So, I guess just first things first. Just I guess for the people who might not be as familiar, what is a little background about you and why you are so relevant to the culture?
Wow. That's such a question. So in 2011 or so, me and my little brother started making just little dumb videos on my parents' laptop. My dad had just got a Mac computer, so we were just like playing around with iMovie and just being dumb and being bored. And YouTube had just started to become like this mega platform for people trying to create content, but not in the way that it is now. Like now it's like a career type thing. Back then people were just being goofy. And so we were like, okay, we were like so obsessed with all the videos with people making skits and stuff. And we just felt like we were funny too. So we made a skit, but we genuinely did not expect for people to see it because we didn't even have subscribers. We had 0 subscribers, like 0. So we made the first Black parents versus white parents in 2012, and we just posted it and went. We didn't even think about it. We thought it was funny, so it was just really for us, and we was gonna show our parents because that's what we always do. Would make our parents like watch our stuff. But then out of nowhere, it just started going insane. Like it was, the numbers were just when we got 100 views, we were like, "Oh my gosh, we're famous!" And then now it's in the millions of millions.
Yeah.
So it's just like kind of crazy. And after that, we did like a part 2, part 3, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And that's really just kind of how it started. I was just like, wow, that's kind of crazy. Like y'all care about it because everybody's in the comments like, we need a part 2, we need a part
Yeah.
2. So they were boosting our head up. So we just kept doing it a couple times and just kept having fun.
And then the part 2, before you continue, the part 2 is the moment. So I guess, like you said, you guys come back after everybody requests a part 2 and you make the part 2. Did you know what you were doing when you made part 2?
I didn't, because that meme didn't even come about immediately, because part 2 probably came out around the same year, if not a year later. No, because even then around the time, I don't even think GIFs were a thing for real in like 2012. Not that I can recall. Like, of course, memes were starting to kind of become a thing, but the moving images like that, it just was not as huge as it is now. So there was no way I could have predicted that. We were just trying to follow up from the first one. We were just trying to have fun and think of new ways we can kind of do that same type of, comedy. So yeah, absolutely not. Because I think the first time I seen the meme was, it had to be, I was out of my freshman year, so it had to be at least 2015.
Okay.
So a couple of years later, and when I saw it, it honestly kind of freaked me out because I was like, who the hell knows about this video? Because really, like at that point, I was on a break from YouTube.
Yeah.
I was in college, so I was like not making videos like that. Like I still had a couple of videos here and there, but I was not in a full-time creator space. So, and I was kind of like embarrassed a little bit about those videos because like I was young and it's just like cringeworthy to me. It's just like watching your old self. So yeah, I was kind of freaked out. Like, who the hell saw this video and why is it on the internet? And I just thought it was gonna be a one-off, and it just was not. It just kept being seen everywhere, and it's just insane.
And now you're like forever, like I said, stamped and engraved in internet culture forever.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It's a weird feeling because on one end, it's like it's super cool because at first, when it first started really kind of showing traction and being like an actual, you know, GIF or whatever, it was kind of hard to find. Like I didn't even know how people were finding this. I'm like, what do I search in to type this, you know? And now there's a couple things you can kind of search to find it and it pops up and I see people use it so frequently like it's an actual like real GIF that people use often. So it's kind of weird. But on the same token, it's like I don't know if there's a connection to who I am because I just recently posted on Twitter to kind of show like because it was like what's your contribution to society, and so I tweeted and a lot of people were just now connecting that was me.
You,
So I still think there's like a disconnect between like
I have a
this guy or
question.
me.
I have a question. I'm sorry for cutting you off too. Like, what has it been? People you know that were like, "Oh, I didn't know those."
Yeah,
That's crazy.
a lot of
All right,
people.
continue.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, you mean to tell me this has been you this whole time? Or like, I knew this person looked familiar. Just all of these kind of things. Like a lot of the people who are close to me, of course, knew it was me. But people who are kind of like adjacent, they're kind of like, wow, I never made that connection. People who've been following me, especially now that I'm back into making content, now it's kind of like, wow, like this whole time you've been here. And it's like, I've been here. I don't know to tell you guys. So it's kind of it's very strange. Every time I see it on my timeline, I just kind of laugh because it's like, wow, I'm over here looking crazy in a meme.
Is it kind of like being an artist where you have like something crazy, a song that goes crazy, but it's like for the rest of your career, you're trying to like, hey guys, I'm still making music, and they're like, do it, Michael Montana. Like he's shout out Michael Montana. He's an example I always use for like that stuff. But like I feel like he's a perfect example of that, where the song became bigger than him, and now regardless of what he does, how many mixtapes he puts out, people are gonna be like, do it. So you know.
A little bit. It was like that definitely in the beginning because we got requests to do that so many times and we were like after I think we did a total of 4. We were like, no. Like because at some point it starts to get corny and I never want to do something that I'm just no longer interested in doing. Like I want to keep being fresh and keep doing new ideas and keep being funny in different ways. And I felt like we got all the jokes out at that point. So definitely in the beginning of making content, it kind of got a little frustrating because it's like they just want us to continue to do the exact same. I'm like, we can't do 50 parts of Black parents versus white parents, y'all. Come on.
It's definitely a lot of creators out there
and
that
they get stuck
they
in that
milked
loop.
it.
They get stuck in that loop. And I get it because it's like the fans like it. So I'm supposed to, it's a balance. But now I don't feel that pressure because I see success in so many other things that I'm doing. And I don't feel the pressure to like keep doing the same thing over and over again. And I think also because I'm older now, like it's easy to bully like somebody who is 18.
19.
Versus somebody who's about to be 28. Like, I just said I'm not doing that no more. No, like, and it's funny because I still get a comment here and there. It will be like, "Oh my gosh, we would just love another Black Panther." I'm like, "Yeah, that was 10 years ago." Come on.
I ain't gonna lie though. I think one, like you said, for the sake of because we're in an era of reboots.
Yeah,
we're in an era because like, and I think reboots are so prominent now because people are scared of the future.
Yeah,
like so it's like we're like Full House.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So doing that so often. So I think that's one aspect of it, and then also, with the Cheetos being what it is, the Cheeto meme being what it is, and then also the third part with you being a mother now and motherhood being such a strong part of your brand. I think it would be nice for you guys to do just one more hoorah for the sake, because even if it doesn't go, you can tell like your subscribers, see, I did it. You gotta just.
We've definitely, me and my brother have had a lot of conversations just about revamping me and him doing stuff together, collaborating again. Because my brother does content as well on TikTok, and he's developing a huge following as well. I think he's up to 15K on TikTok now. And he has his own unique style of comedy. I just think he's hilarious. But we've had a lot of conversations about we need to like start collabing again because I think us together is also very funny because we just have our own mind. It's just different now because of course, I live by myself and he's still with my parents. And our schedules are so different. And sometimes when we're together, like we don't be in the content creating
Right.
mood.
I mean, you seem like your sibling.
Yeah,
Like,
so we
it's
just kind
family
of be
time.
chilling.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that's something that we both want to do it. But we also are like very like I don't know the word, but we don't play with comedy. I don't know. Like if it's not funny, we're not gonna drop it. Like we'll be like, let's scrap it. So if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it right. I don't know what that'll be, what that'll look like, but we're definitely going to start collabing again and doing some more stuff. So it's definitely something to look forward to. I don't know if it will be, black parents versus white parents. It'll just kind of have to wait and see. But yeah.
I heard it. So also something with you, excuse me, is Twitter. Like you go viral a lot on Twitter pretty often. I guess just like how do you feel about Twitter? Because I feel like the evolution of it was so kind of unique. It became something where it was like just you and the people that go to your school.
Yeah.
And then it became something that was like, okay, Black Twitter became a thing. I think maybe the downfall of Twitter was when the first person labeled it Black Twitter. Like when someone officially said it like Black Twitter, that's when it just went. It was like fun's over, guys.
It just kind of turned into like a cringy thing, and I think it's more so like it changed from being like community to being like people watching community. And I think that is the thing. Like once they was like, oh, Black Twitter is like almost like it became like a noun, and it's like, okay, it's like okay, now it's like a cringe fest. But Twitter is interesting because I love Twitter. I've been on Twitter since, almost since its inception. We transitioned from MySpace on. And I think Twitter is fun because it can be so stupid and there's no like rules for the most part. We just talk shit, unfortunately. Like that's all we do is just say our opinions. And I tweet a lot. Like I can't help it. I just be having thoughts. But at the same time, Twitter has gotten to a point now where it's like, oh my God, like never mind. I don't even want to be on here no more because it's certain pockets of people and groups of people on Twitter that just ruin the platform. Like sometimes they're on one end, there's the people who say very outlandish, like really discriminatory, random things like, where did you come from? I don't follow you. How is this on my page? And then there's the hoteps. Oh God, like please, like the super blacks, like please, okay, like I'm just regular Black. I'm not trying to,
And speaking of that, like you said, like the last time you went viral, I don't know if it was on TikTok or Twitter, but they were trying to say you were biracial. I want to give you the space and opportunity to kind of clarify those claims.
First of all, being accused of being biracial has to be one of the funniest insults that I've received. And I've received so many random insults. It was like, shut up, you can't talk about shit, you're biracial. And I'm like, well, that's awkward because I'm not. Like, and then it's funny because growing up, like, although I am light skinned, obviously, I've never really been questioned by Black people if I'm biracial because Black people know that like we are light skinned too. I've only ever been asked if I'm biracial by white people.
Yeah.
So to have a Black person, I'm trying to remember what the hell video that was when somebody asked that. What was I talking about? I don't even know. I talk about so many different things.
Yeah.
But it just made it funny. Oh, I do remember what it was. It was the trend going around like, I'm a Black person, but I'm not afraid to admit this. And then I'm afraid of the hood.
Yeah.
And so I made like a response like that was lame. Basically, I was just saying they lame for saying they afraid of the hood. Like, what is that? And because I said what you're saying is anti-Black, for that to be the comeback made it even funnier. Like, I'm telling you that what you're saying is anti-Black, and your response was, you're biracial.
Yeah. So it was like you were literally defending Black people, and then Black people were like, you don't have to say.
Right. I feel like if I was the one saying that I'm afraid of the hood, if I was pushing that narrative, then it would be understandable for you to think that I'm biracial.
Yeah.
But just to clarify, I'm not biracial. As far as I know, I can't even trace my white lineage anywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody is Black in my family on both sides. So it just is what it is. We know why I'm light skinned. Slavery. I don't know. It's that simple. I don't know what to tell y'all, but yeah, I am Black fully.
All right. So moving along to the next thing, I want to ask you about college
Uh-huh.
because you started off at Hampton
Mhm.
and then you finished off at Georgia State, at least for undergrad. So I want to ask you kind of like what was that experience like starting off at a HBCU, and how was the HBCU versus you can't call Georgia State a PWI. I guess
Mhm.
it'll be PBI
Yeah.
versus a PBI.
Right. So going to Hampton was such an interesting experience because I went to Decula High School, which is majority white. Um, and I kind of felt like I was in a little bit of a shell because I was not the most liked in high school because I was always very, very vocal, but it wasn't popular to be vocal about social issues back in the day. It was
Mhm.
kind of like, boo, we're
Yeah.
laughing. Like, and
No,
I'm just like,
100%.
that was racist. I don't know. So it just kind of made it a very uncomfortable environment for me, from my peers to teachers, everything. And then on top of that, I then started making content in high school. Again, that was not popular back in the day.
Yeah.
It was kind of awkward and embarrassing.
Right.
Even though I was kind of proud of it, it just didn't translate.
Mhm.
So it was kind of a weird bubble that I was in. Like I had my people, I had my friends, but overall it was strange. So I feel like when I went to Hampton, it was a fresh start. I didn't know anybody when I went there. That's when I really knew I had social anxiety because I was like, I want to go home. Like I didn't know anybody. I didn't know what to do because I'm like, this is just so freaking awkward. Like I don't know. I feel like I get very shy when I'm around people I don't know,
Mhm.
especially a big group of people. So it was very uncomfortable that first week, the first couple days. But then I started to kind of, make friends. And then I was able to kind of, okay, now I can get into it. And what I discovered there was like, sometimes you have to step outside of your bubble
Mhm.
to really flourish because I feel like I really blossomed at Hampton because I was able to just be my authentic self without being judged. And everybody was black. I mean, there was a couple white people, but
Yeah.
everybody was black over there. And people thought what I was doing was cool. Like that was
Mhm.
the first time I really experienced that. Like there were a few people who were already familiar with me before I
Oh,
got there.
wow.
So I was like, oh my goodness. And everybody thought it was cool. Like nobody thought it was weird and lame. Nobody was, saying
Right.
little slick stuff on the side. Um, and I immediately was involved. I was, in theater there, just doing everything that I could to be involved. And it was just an exciting time for sure. And I made a lot of connections and a lot of friends of people I'm still friends with today, honestly. So when I transferred to state, I was very nervous
Mhm.
because I thought it was going to be a white school, actually. I
Oh.
had no idea Georgia State was black as
Like,
hell
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go from this black ass school to this white ass school. I'm going back to
Back to high
Decula.
school,
Oh
yeah,
gosh. So I
yeah.
was very anxious. But when I got there, I was like, oh, okay. This ain't bad. I can do this. This is very cultured. It was very, very diverse. A lot of black folks. Um, some classes were not as diverse, but it's cool. So that was I feel like the best transition I could have had
Mhm.
because it wasn't so black and white, literally.
Right.
But Georgia State was definitely a part of my journey. I feel like even though it was never the intention, I never intended to go to Georgia State. I wanted to finish out of Hampton, but Hampton was expensive. So I went on down the state, good old state school, and finished out. But I definitely feel like it was a part of my journey because I discovered, you know, where my passion lies and how I really wanted to kind of like show up, in the world and what I wanted my career to be. Um, Got to know a lot more people, and I felt like I really built a network.
Mhm.
And I felt very comfortable here. So yeah.
And so kind of even going along that of like figuring out what you're passionate about. I want to ask you about, like I said earlier, motherhood is such kind of like a strong part of your brand now.
Mhm.
Um, did you know that like kind of the maternal lifestyle would be something that will be you and stuff like that?
I always knew I wanted to be a mom for sure, but I never knew what that would look like in real life. So when I got pregnant, I was like, oh, okay. Uh this is weird because I still felt like a child internally. Like
Mhm.
even now I'm about to be 28. I still if you was to tell me like actually you really are 18, I'd be like that tracks. Now that makes sense. because I still feel so youthful, even though 28 is not old. It's just, I don't know. It just it's so weird.
Right.
And me being a mom is so strange. Still, like I'm like, that is so like, who gave me a child? Like, it's weird, but at the same time, it feels so right. It feels like it's the most, I don't know. It's just so random, but it feels so right. And he is definitely like supposed to be here, and he's definitely a part of my journey as well. And I feel like becoming a mom has shaped me in different ways as well. I feel like my outlook on life is very different. I'm a different person in total, but at the same time, still like my personality is the same, but I'm a different person. The things that I care about have changed, my priorities have changed, my responsibilities have changed, and but in such a good way. Like I really do enjoy it, and it's a fun journey, and he's pretty cool.
Well, what is like I guess the main thing that really changed for you in life once you had the baby?
Um, just realizing that every single thing that I do affects somebody. I didn't really have that in the top of my head. Like, of course, I knew things I, can do can affect people in some ways, but I didn't think of it in like a sense of every decision. But like when I tell you every single decision is like he is a byproduct of me. And every single decision I make, I have to have him immediately in the forefront of my head to make sure that every decision I make makes sense for him, to make sure that things go right. Um, and my patience, my God, I am not a patient person, but he definitely instilled that in me, because you just have to have patience with a kid, because they're learning everything from scratch. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, right, you don't know how to do this. My goodness, that's crazy. I really got to just wait and allow you to kind of just step into it. That was, yeah, it's been a lot, but I enjoy it though.
And then I guess, just how passionate are you about black maternal kind of lifestyle? Because I feel like that's something that you've kind of keyed in on as well.
Yeah, I think it's a pivotal part of like society. Community is something I'm very big on, which is why I kind of stepped into also becoming a labor doula, based off of my own birthing experience, but also just kind of reading into the maternal medicine, Black maternal medicine specifically, and how we have taken community out of the birthing process. And I want to bring that back in, because it should be a communal process. And I'm just really big on community in general. So even after the baby's born, having people there outside of the actual parents, having people there to be able to help raise a kid. And because I was raised like that, of course I have my parents, but I also have my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, friends of family, things like that, to be there for us and make sure that, we have what we need. And I want to make sure we kind of recenter that, because I think because we're all with with the advancement of technology, with the separation of families, community is kind of dissipating, and I want to kind of see that come back. Yeah.
What do you attribute the separation of families to?
Oh, dear. There's so many things. There's not one thing. There's definitely not one thing, but um, I'm gonna have to say it. Unfortunately, a lot of these men's are not in the house.
Uh-oh.
They're not in the household. And that's a problem. That's a problem. I know a lot of people are very much anti um shacking up and having babies out of wedlock, and I understand it. Uh, ah, I don't know. I had a baby out of wedlock, so it is what it is. I don't think that's the problem though, because people have been having babies out of wedlock for years, but it's like the involvement of being a parent is what matters. Like having a baby with somebody that's going to be thoroughly involved in that child's life, and making sure your family's involved in that child's life. I think a lot of people are just probably not ready when they have kids. And it's a huge responsibility. It is. I don't want to make it, even though it's a fun experience and it's amazing, it's a lot, and it's overwhelming at times. So you just got to really be prepared for that, and you can't just like peace out on your responsibilities. And it's easy for men to peace out because they don't have to carry the baby. And a lot of the times it's easier for women to stay with those babies because, especially if you're breastfeeding. So it's like men sometimes feel disconnected from those babies. So it's easier for them to be like, you got it.
No, 100%. 100%. I wanted to ask you about postpartum.
Yeah.
Um, like you said, being there for with the mother after the birth, like how important are those next first couple of years?
It's intense. The postpartum period, which is really just after you have a baby, it's the postpartum period. So a lot of people refer to it as the fourth trimester also because you're still experiencing a lot of changes. There's a hormonal shift that happens, your body's changing yet again. But on top of that, now you are a mother and you have to care for this baby that knows nothing. Them babies can't even see when they born. They don't even know what's going on. They don't even know they exist for real. And you gotta really, do some stuff. So on top of dealing with this extreme shift and change within yourself, your emotions, your body, now you have to deal with this person. It's a lot for anybody. And on top of that, some people also, suffer from postpartum depression and anxiety, which is clinical. And there's really not much you can do to like cure it. It's something that just kind of eases itself over time, but it can also last a couple of years. And that's why I say community is important. Um, that's really the biggest help for those things because if you don't have nobody and you are dealing with isolation, that's not helpful. So it's tough, but yeah, I'm always going to be an advocate for bringing community back together and helping those, if you know somebody is pregnant, help them out. When they had that baby, help them out. And a lot of times people be want to help out, but they just want to go over and hold the baby.
Yeah.
I can hold this baby. Go wash a dish. Go fold the clothes. Go make me something to eat. They always want to hold the baby. And I get it. Like, it's a fresh baby. Everybody loves the babies. But, like, that's not how they need that help.
I thought I was doing something for my niece and nephew. You opened my eyes. I was like, oh, maybe I should
Yeah, bring them some food. Because it's
bring some
like,
food.
we didn't need you to hold the baby. That's the easy part. Holding the baby is the easiest part of postpartum. I could do that all day. Next thing I know, the laundry done piled up. Oh, Lord, when am I supposed to do this? So, yeah.
Who really helped you in your postpartum period?
Definitely my family. I was with my parents. I was staying with my parents throughout the end of my pregnancy and the beginning of motherhood. So with my parents and also again my brother stays there. So that was like everything because if I needed to just kind of disappear and take a nap, I could. And obviously they love being there for the baby. And so I didn't feel that pressure to kind of get back into real life. I felt like I was able to take my time when I was getting back to work, getting back into my passions, getting back to anything. I truly took my time. And I'm very grateful for that because I definitely dealt with a lot of things in that postpartum period. So yeah.
Well, what were some of the things that you faced during that postpartum period?
Ooh, child. A breakup is number one.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So so how was that situation? If you don't mind me asking, that's a very invasive question, but yes.
What do you mean?
All right.
It's a loaded question.
So it like is the co-parenting situation smooth?
For the most part, co-parenting is co-parenting. It is a very awkward thing to experience, I'm sure for everybody, because it's like that's an ex at the end of the day, and you have to kind of like still be in their face sometimes. And it's like, I ain't really trying to be in your face for real, but I guess you is the daddy, so come on and get your baby. But for me, I'm never going to limit the relationship my kid has with his dad. And whatever my feelings are towards him, I don't let that interfere with their relationship or anything. So it's like, if you're trying to be involved, I'm going to let you be involved. But I think it's important to also have boundaries. And I'm a stickler for boundaries, especially these days. So yeah, boundaries, respect them. And yeah.
All right. Switching gears. You just went viral for the granny panties.
Yes.
I guess just like what is that feeling for you to know like I still got it. Like I'm still in this game and everything like that. When you catch another one, how does that feel?
Um, it feels it's interesting because when I make content now, I know when something is gonna pop just because I've kind of been there a little bit, a little long. So I'm like, yeah, I think this one's gonna go well. So I'm kind of used to it now. But it's funny when things start popping up on other timelines. So it's like that, of course, that popped on kind of Instagram more than TikTok. So then when I see somebody else post it on Twitter, that's a different level. I'm like, wow, here I go talking about, and it's always funny because I'm always just saying something so crazy, and I'm like, oh brother, and I'm over here talking about big panties. And I don't know, it's weird, but it's funny.
No, I heard it. So we are way past what I thought we're going to be time wise. So I have to close.
Okay.
But as we close, I wanted to bring out a surprise. So, if you didn't know, Jamila's a big Beyonce person. I don't have Beyonce's not in this. So, but I did want to ask you. I don't know exactly what's going on with the Beyonce thing.
Okay.
So, if you would take the pleasure of being like the Beyonce correspondent for us and let us know what's going on with Renaissance Act 2. Where's
the Beyonce?
I wanted you to discuss it. Wow, you look at a bag of hot Cheetos.
This is so funny because I didn't know what she was pulling out. I'm like, is it tickets? What do you have?
I wish. But shout out Beyonce and Beyonce's team.
By the way, Cheetos has never reached out to me. I'm just saying, now is the time. But anyways, Beyonce does drop tomorrow at midnight. Right. I will be streaming live.
Okay.
Because it's Beyonce.
Right.
And I am one of her number one fans. Right. Absolutely. I'm excited because I'm from Texas.
Right. Okay.
And she's from Texas. Okay. Yeah, I'm from Texas. Mm-hmm. I'm from Southeast Texas. I'm from Beaumont, Texas. If you know, you know, which is about an hour from Houston. So
Texas State. That's Beaumont?
No, Lamar is in Beaumont.
Oh.
TSU is in Houston.
You said Beaumont.
Yeah.
That's where Tizo
Touchdown. Yeah, I will be at his concert. I love him down. Yes, I love him down. But I don't know. I'm excited. She's gonna. I mean, it's Beyonce. I don't have any doubt that it's gonna be amazing. And I'm just kind of begging that she waits for the tour so I can like save some coin because I got to be in the front row this time. Of course, I was there last time. I went twice to the last concert.
Well, the both the Atlanta shows or 2 of the 3 Atlanta shows?
Yeah, I went to the Saturday show and then I went to the Monday show.
I went to the Friday one.
I was losing my mind. Oh God, I love that woman.
Yeah, I didn't bring. I would have brought rap snacks, but I didn't want to prevent any deals with rap snacks. I was like, rap snacks. This could be you as well. It don't have to be Cheetos. We don't want to promote no white brand. You know what I mean? So
I love all chips. I'm a chip lover.
All chips. How do you eat this? How do you eat this in the manner of the memeable way?
The hand.
All right.
You got it.
We got Jamila in the building. Jamila, how can the people find you on social media?
So I am _I am Jamila on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Jamila Bell on YouTube. And you can also follow my podcast with my friends, Too Funny for Free.
Too Funny for Free?
Yes.
How do you spell that?
TOO. So TOO, funny for free. FOR.
Okay. FOR.
Yes.
Okay. And anything else you have coming up?
Yes. I actually have a show coming out. A scripted series called Going Through It. It's coming out this year. I'm very excited about that. So you guys can follow my production company at Ring a Bell Productions on Instagram and on TikTok. And of course, we'll get all the updates there. But it is coming out this year. We finished filming it last year.
Shout out Jamila Bell. Shout out to Ring the Bell Productions, man.
Bell
Shout
out
to all the entrepreneurs. Shout out to all the creators, man. I'm Rashad Milligan. And until next time from the Rolling Out headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia, please take care of yourselves.